I was looking through the Game Pass list of games for something new to play, and I stumbled across Infernax. Face the consequences, the description read, and it made it sound almost Fable-like in how choices make an impact on the story, so I'm curious to see how that dynamic plays out. In Infernax, you play as Alcedor, who has just come back from a crusade only to find out that a knight's work is never done. You step off the boat and off you go to try and find out what's going on, and no less than 2 minutes later, you're faced with your first choice. You run across a deformed looking man who asks you, well no, he damn near begs you to kill him. So you're given two options. Will you offer him help somehow, or will you give in to his plea and put him out of his misery? Without spoiling anything, either option will have an impact on your journey. It might not be huge at first, but there is a difference. And that mechanic carries over throughout your whole playthrough in Infernax. You'll constantly be faced with decisions that all add up to how your character is seen by NPCs. If you've ever played Fable, then you'll be right at home here. If you stay on the side of good, you'll be offered help by the people you expect. But if you choose the evil path, you'll receive help from a clan of baddies that the more evil you become, the more they will trust you and offer you help. Your character can even change his appearance if you become evil enough. Not only in appearance, but the weapon you have. You will go from using a mace as a good guy to using a sword as a bad guy with some decent range. NPCs will also react differently and may not offer you quests if they don't trust you, and this goes for good and bad NPCs. There are paths in the game that you will not see unless you have chosen a certain path. And some choices are not so easy to figure out as to what the correct option is or what the good or evil option is. For example, I started off my journey easy enough doing what I thought was right, but slowly ended up going down the evil path, and by the end I got what could easily be seen as the bad ending. Looking at the achievements, there seems to be at least 4 endings depending on whether you were good, really good, bad, or really bad. So there is some nice replayability, because I want to see what the really good ending gives you, and I want to see how my character will be strength-wise near the end. There is no doubt this game is an homage to Castlevania 1 and 2 on the NES, and it takes bits from each game. One of the things I'm glad it did not take from Castlevania 2 was the vagueness or lack of clues as to what you need to do or where you need to go. Which is nice, because in this game you can head in any direction that you like, much like Castlevania 2, as long as you can physically get there. The clues you get here are just hard enough to where you can figure them out if you pay enough attention. Oddly enough, one of the things from Castlevania 2 that was added was the night and day effect, along with its game-stopping cutscene that you cannot skip and you must watch. It doesn't happen that often, which makes it easy to not get annoyed by it that much. And also, some quests only activate during the night or the day, so that was pretty cool on how they implemented that. Also, you will eventually get a spell where you can change from day to night manually, so it makes it much less of a burden. The controls are simple enough. You have an attack, jump, spell, and potion buttons, as well as using your shoulder and trigger buttons to cycle through your spells and potions on the fly. The movement is not like Castlevania 1 or 2, it has a modern feel to it. Your character can jump and move in the air, for example, and does not fall like he weighs 1,200 pounds. Your jump, however, is a one-way street, much like Castlevania 1. You have no short hops. If you press jump, you're gonna get a full jump every single time you press it. It's not really that big of an issue, but it did throw me off in the beginning when I was trying to finesse my way onto some platforms. And there's also a mapping system which I thought was great. It helps you navigate all the areas. The graphics are awesome, and the enemy designs are what Konami could have only ever dreamed of being able to pull off on a Nintendo console. Bosses look gross and creepy in an awesome way. I've been struggling to find any negatives, and if I had to choose one, I guess it would be the difficulty. I mean, the game does have an option to make it easier from the start, And if you die, it does give you a chance to spawn back with most of your XP and gold, but it penalizes you by not letting you select a classic restart again. Now, how this impacts the story or gameplay from that point, I have no idea, but I do know there is an achievement for beating the game in classic mode only. But a free pro tip here. There are no save points inside of dungeons, but if you get any keys in a dungeon, you can exit, go save, and come right back in and still keep the keys that you found. So you won't lose any progress by leaving the dungeon or a cave that you're in. And trust me, use that tip because you're gonna need it. If you want to be tough and go through your first playthrough trying to beat every dungeon in one shot, go ahead, but you're gonna shave many years off your real life by all the stress you're gonna go through. This game can be brutal, but it's the kind of old school difficulty where you feel happy and proud that you've advanced just a little bit further each time. There aren't really many cheap deaths here. If you died, it's on you. Give Infernax a try if you're looking for an old school look and challenge, and you will be, well, not pleasantly surprised, because there's nothing pleasant about this game, but let's say you'll be brutally surprised by how awesome it all is. My score for Infernax is a resounding 10 out of 10. Please don't cheat yourself out of experiencing this classic.